everyone, and welcome back to Liz Sews. I've got a lot of questions recently about my filming setup, so I thought I'd just show it really quickly. So one of the reasons why I've never done this in the past is that I'm constantly upgrading my setup. As I'm earning more money from YouTube, I like to reinvest it back into the channel and buy new devices and things like that. But the current setup that I have right now, I'm really enjoying, and I thought it was one that I wouldn't mind sharing with everyone else because I think it's one that works really well. So this mount that I have here is from Glide Gear, and I purchased it off of Amazon. I'll leave a link down in the description box below. Not sponsored, but I've been using this for about a month now to shoot all of my overhead shots, and I really like it a lot because it's really stable and it gives a very secure picture. So the last mount that I was using was an articulated arm, and the arm was constantly swaying back and forth, or you would see me hit the camera and it would start moving the camera. So this one is a lot more stable, and I really appreciate it, and it gives me a very clear top-down shot without any sort of angles or distortions. One of the reasons why I chose this Glide Gear one is I liked that it had all of these individual mounting points along the top bar as well as the sidebar. These can be used for changing the camera mounting position as well as mounting additional things like lights or secondary cameras and stuff like that, even though right now I just have this main camera. We'll talk about why I have so many cords coming off here, but the main one is that I have AC power coming in here, which gives me continuous power without having to change out batteries. Here I have a microphone. So I use a lavalier microphone like this to get better audio quality. I just pin it onto my shirt and it connects directly into the camera. And the third cable I have running out right here is for a field monitor. So this is an HDMI cable. When I have my camera in this system here and I'm shooting a top-down shot of my hands and I'm sitting down, I can't really see what's on the viewfinder. So I use this field monitor right there, which just relays the same image that's shooting from the camera above into that field monitor, and I can keep an eye on, is everything in focus? Is the exposure looking fine? Do I need to change my white balance or anything like that? So having the field monitor has been super helpful in being able to keep an eye on what the picture looks like even when I'm sitting down and I can't see the viewfinder of the camera itself. It also helps me get everything into frame appropriately. So you see this white mat that I'm shooting on here is just like a desk blotter that I got off of Amazon, and as I had said, I'll leave links to everything I talk about down in the description box below if you're interested in it. So this is a really cheap white, like faux leather blotter, but I use it as the background for most of my filming because I like having a white background, and you can see that I have everything framed up. So all you see in film is just that white background, and you don't see any of the other space I have in the front or back of my desk. So now that we've taken a look at the mounting setup, I'll go ahead and take this camera down so we can look at this camera in a little bit closer detail. So here is my main filming camera, and this is the Sony Alpha 6400. That is the camera body, and then in terms of the lens, it has interchangeable lenses. So for my lens, I have a Sigma 16mm fixed prime lens. So this is the one that I use primarily for my top-down shots. It shoots really high quality videos. This one shoots in 4K, and I really like this one because it works very well as like a built-in camera for my sewing station. So a couple of features that work really well for me is that it does have connections for a microphone in here. So I connect my lav mic in and record the audio directly into the camera, and it also has some HDMI cable settings that I connect to a field monitor so I can see what it is I'm doing. In terms of battery life on this camera, I do have a 1 battery for it. I don't particularly love the battery. It seems to run out really fast, especially if shooting in 4K. So what I do with this guy, because it's mainly set up in my top-down mount, is I have an AC battery instead. So the AC battery you see is connected to a cord, and that cord runs to the power outlet, so I can get continuous supply of power to this and never have to worry about the battery running out. So this guy uses a standard SD card. I like this camera for my SD card because it's easy to get to the battery in the SD card while it's attached into the mounting system. So I'll show you my secondary camera in a little bit, and one of the sort of like things that bother me about that camera is when it's in a mount, so the overhead mount or tripod or anything like that, I can't access the battery or the SD card, so that makes it really cumbersome to take in and out every time I need to charge the battery. So this guy is really nice because the battery and the SD card are accessible even when it's connected to a mount. So key features about this camera that I appreciate and the reason why I upgraded, the main one being that it can connect directly to my microphone. I like that it has interchangeable lenses so that if I wanted to shoot different photography down the road, I can switch out a lens for something that's much more applicable to that sort of photography. This one is just a fixed prime lens, so I really don't have much opportunity for zooming and things like that, but because I am shooting in 4K, it means that I can crop the video image in really tight if I want to get a close-up of something that I'm showing you, and it's fairly good at focusing at the distance that I'm using for my top-down shots. I will say that the menu on this camera is a little cumbersome to get through and find what it is you need, but if there's certain things that you're using quite frequently, like white balance or exposure compensation, you can hot link them to all these different buttons on the front so you can access them really easily. So on my camera, I think I have exposure compensation linked, I have the picture profile hot linked, I have the microphone audio levels hot linked, so I can sort of mess with those at the click of a button instead of having to go through an entire menu, which is helpful, especially on this one where the menu is so large and cumbersome. So this is my main shooting camera. It's the one that's always in my top-down position and the one that you see most often in my videos these days. I purchased this one about a year ago and I've been using it and really happy with it ever since. So now that we've seen the main camera, let's take a look at my secondary camera, which is what I'm filming on right now. So this is my secondary filming camera. This was my primary one for several years, and so it certainly works fine, but I went ahead and upgraded to the Sony, so this one now is my secondary camera. So right now when I'm filming tutorials, any shot that is on the sewing machine itself is using this camera. So this is the Canon G7X Mark II. It's sort of like a mid-range camera, great for point and shoot. It does not have interchangeable lenses, so it is kind of just like an all-in-one piece, which makes it really handy if you're shooting like vlogging or stuff like that and things you need to like, don't want to carry a lot of heavy equipment. So I do like the flip screen on this. It works really, really well. I think it works better than the Sony one, but then again, I don't really use it very often. You can see here that the top-down mount, in the screen there. I decided to upgrade my camera because in terms of output, this one, the max quality it shoots is 1080p, which is fine for most applications, but just because I wanted a little bit of longevity of my videos, I decided to upgrade to the one that can shoot 4K, so that'll be nicer for a little bit longer. This one, just like the other camera, uses a standard SD card like this. And then it has batteries in here. I have 2 batteries for this. These batteries last a really long time, and so I've never had a problem as long as I'm always charging one, and then I have one in the camera, so I can shoot for a fairly long time because by the time this battery runs out, the second battery will be fully charged. So that's a pretty nice feature. And so this means that this is also the camera that I use more often if I'm moving around, since I have my main camera set to the AC battery. I was having a little bit of issues with the camera getting good white balance, and I think that if I had played with the settings, I might be able to have gotten something that I liked a little bit better, but it was a little bit cumbersome to play with those settings, so I just didn't bother. Another feature that this camera is missing is that it doesn't have the ability to plug in a microphone to it, which is a little bit cumbersome because it meant that I had to get a second cord for the microphone, and I can show that to you guys as well. It is Wi-Fi enabled, even though that I never used that just because it used up too much bandwidth. So right now this is just my secondary camera and my on-the-go camera. So as I alluded to, I do have this second device or an auxiliary device here, which I can use to record when I don't want the wire showing in my shot. So I use this most often in anything when my face is showing because my lav mic wire is not long enough for it to be connected to the camera and myself when my face is in shot. So this is the Zoom H1N audio recorder. It's just this little piece right here is the audio recorder. And so this guy uses a micro SD card, so a little teeny tiny card like this. to record things, and it can record, I think it's 30 hours it's saying right now on it, and that's with some audio recording already being on the card. So it records for quite a while. It has some microphones in here on the top here if you want to like hold it and talk into these microphones on either side. However, I find they don't have the best quality, and I prefer to plug my lav mic directly into this and record, and you get a really nice quality of sound. So this takes some batteries. It takes 2 AAA batteries, but I found that they got used up rather quickly. So instead of using batteries in this device, what I like to do is pair it with a freestanding battery like this. So this is a rechargeable battery. It's something that like most people use to charge up their phone or something like that. But I connect it directly to my device with this mini USB cable, and it allows this battery to charge my audio recording device. And so that way I'm able to record for a really, really, really long time, easily up to that 30-hour mark without having to recharge this battery. So that's why this little thing is added on extra. This one is from Ugreen, and again, I got it from Amazon, so I can link it down in the description box below. The Zoom H1N I purchased from B&H Photo. And again, I will link it down in the description box below. So right now I'm recording on my lav mic directly into my Sony camera. So I'm gonna go ahead and switch over the mic into this device, and I can show you the quality of sound that I get from it. Okay, so it is plugged in right here. It is just a little like headphone jack that plugs into the device. And I'm hoping now that you can hear a little bit difference in the sound quality recording with the Zoom H1N versus recording directly onto the camera. And then the last aspect I thought I'd talk about is just the computer I use for editing. So this computer here is one that my boyfriend helped me build out to my custom specifications, knowing that I specifically wanted to use this for editing videos. And so I have, you know, a higher graphics card and stuff like that. So the software I use is called Wondershare Filmora, and I have 2 versions of it. I have Filmora 9 and Filmora Pro. So Filmora Pro definitely has a lot more ability to sort of fine-tune things. And Filmora 9 has a lot more presets. So if you're looking for something that's a little bit more advanced, I'd say go with Pro. But for the most part, I say that Filmora 9 is easier for me to edit in. I work much faster in it for now, and so I only ever use the Pro software if I'm looking to really fine-tune something in terms of image quality and something like that, green screens, those sort of like advanced techniques. So I would say if you're just looking to start out, I would get Filmora 9 instead, because that's one that works really well, super powerful tool, and it works perfectly fine. And it's a little bit cheaper. So I just got the lifetime, the membership to it license, and I think it was something like $60, which I feel like I've gotten more than my $60 worth of editing out of it. And then I use this ultra wide monitor here because it makes it super, super easy to see a large portion of my timeline at once, as well as the finished movie that I'm working on and the different clips that I have available to insert into there. So having a wide monitor has been super helpful as well. So I hope you guys enjoyed this look at the different filming setup that I have for my YouTube channel, and it gave you some information of how you might want to start your own sewing channel. I'll see everyone next time. Take care.